Most companies think that growth is ultimately a marketing problem. And so they focus on things like brand awareness and traffic and leads and people entering the pipeline. So congratulations, a lead hits your pipeline. And now what? Now, here's the thing. This is when leads get handed off to sales. And this is where a lot of things can tend to go wrong. And so in this podcast, we talk a lot about the marketing side of things, but today we're going to focus on the sales side because the best salespeople understand that sales is not just about persuasion the way that marketing is. It's really about leading with curiosity and creativity and trust and discipline and helping someone decide whether moving forward with your company is actually the right choice for them. Hello and welcome to the Humans of Growth podcast, where we talk about the stories and strategies behind business growth and development. I'm your host, Aly Hathcock, and today's episode is sponsored by Inkbound. The average mailbox only receives 2 or 3 pieces of mail per day, and most people get less than 20 handwritten cards per year. Inkbound sends real personalized cards written by real humans with real ink, no robots, for the prospects and clients worth reaching. So if you're looking for a new way to prospect and increase client retention, check out tryinkbound.com. That's tryinkbound.com. Today's guest is Bryan Wong, the head of inside sales at L2T Media, a automotive digital marketing agency. In this episode, we're talking about where companies lose momentum between generating a lead and creating a customer, what makes a sales process feel human instead of pushy, and how sales can become less about pressure and quota and chasing the close and more about relationships and creativity and service and genuinely understanding people. So with that being said, let's dive into the episode. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Hey, Aly, good to be here. Definitely excited to talk about all things sales and marketing.
So, Bryan, I introduced the professional side of you, but in a sentence or a story, who are you as a human? What's bringing you joy right now?
Oh, who am I as a human? I would describe myself as a creative dude who fell into sales purely by happenstance, which I think most salespeople do. Creative guy, definitely enjoys being active and big on philosophy, music, and living the good life.
Okay, you say philosophy. Who's your favorite philosopher?
I
know.
Probably Arthur Schopenhauer.
Okay, that's a threat. Yeah, that's a left field.
He's a bit more on the pessimistic side, but he finds beauty within the pessimism. So
okay.
I'll go with Schopenhauer.
Okay, nice. So a lot of the conversations we have on the podcast when it comes to growth are related to marketing. So getting attention, generating leads, filling like the pipeline. But the second half of growth we don't talk about as often, which is what happens when the real human actually enters the conversation. And this is where I always see so many companies, whether we're talking with marketing agencies, whether we're talking e-commerce, whether we're talking about professional services, healthcare, you name it, where they lose momentum is between the point of we have a lead and we have a customer. The gap that sales fills. Where and why do you see companies losing momentum in this gap?
So from a sales perspective, the biggest gap between that point of inception and the point of maintaining contact is typically within follow-up. It's not the finest of follow-up. And you can pin that on sales reps doing a subpar job. You could put that on managers, perhaps not training them properly, but it's definitely within that follow-up process.
Okay, I like that. And that's also my own Achilles heel when it comes to my own sales. So with follow-up process, how do you go about creating one? What does a good follow-up process actually look like for someone like you?
You know, I've heard this question for a long time, and people have always asked about that. And I was always really good at follow up back when I was in AE, and I'm just doing cold calling nowadays for the past 6 years. But for me, when I was closing deals, it was just all about setting notes for yourself, just like the stuff that you do when you're in middle school. Like it's literally no different. No different than like finding out, oh, I have a test on next Thursday. Oh, I got to get together with like a study group with like a few homies of mine and just write down study group, like Mike, Kevin, Eric, Bo, and then just hit up the boys and say, hey, study session time. We got to be ready for that test. So same thing. If I'm talking with somebody and they're like, yeah, Brian, I'm not too sure about this at the moment. Why don't you just get back with me at another time? And I would just find out, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. individual on the line, what's a good time? And they say, how about later next week? Cool. And then I would pin them down for a specific date that works best. And then just make a note, be it on anywhere from, I remember one job, it was just Microsoft Outlook notifications. So you just had to create one and it would show up and it would go ding. I had one job back in the day, like my first sales job, where we really didn't have much computers, and I would just write a little note inside this little folder that we kept all of our leads in, and I would just write like little dash, call back person X next Thursday at 10 a.m. And that's all I would do. I have a pretty good attention to detail, and I have a pretty good process, and I have been told that I'm quite disciplined. So that's really all it is for me. You could just have like a notepad and a pen and be good to go.
Nice. One of the things are you familiar with Jeremy Miner in 7th Level?
I'm very familiar with Jeremy Miner.
Yeah. So one of the things that Jeremy talks about a lot on YouTube is with follow up. What do you say? Because the email is always going to get deleted when you say like just circling back, and the same thing with like the calls. What do you say should go in like follow ups?
So I never really understood the whole like circling back and talking like that. So I suppose one unique thing about me, maybe my background, or maybe just the kind of person I am, is I just talk to people like they're normal. Like I never used circling back. Talking to like one of my homies. Hey, dude. It was sick meeting you at the Body Snatcher show on Friday. Circling back to see if you wanted to come out to punk rock karaoke. No, I'm just like, yo, it was good meeting you over there at Body Snatcher. You want to come through that karaoke? And it would be the same thing if I were to speak with a prospect. So I'm in automotive. That's what L2T does. So we're digital advertising for the automotive space. So if the general manager was person X, I would merely, if I were to shoot him an email, I would say, hey, person X, it's Brian from L2T. Had that chat with you a week ago about, and it's a quick sentence. If even. Look, it would be chatted with you a week ago about digital leads. What's your schedule looking like next week? Hope everything's good. Let me know what's best. Like I would talk to the person the same way that I would if I were to meet them out and about, like, and cut to the chase, make it pretty quick. People's attention spans are short. I got a really short attention span. I don't have time for much people. So I just pretend like I'm talking to myself.
What's your philosophy on one of the things that sometimes Jeremy says this, sometimes he doesn't, of like after in the follow-ups, you need to deliver either some sort of case study or some sort of like free value in that follow-up?
Oh, so now that really depends on the purpose of the next meeting. If the next meeting is going to be something more of a pitch, like what I was doing back in the day as an AE, then I would say, hey, it's Brian. Converse with you last, I'm not going to say converse, talk with you last Thursday about the leads. Are you free next Wednesday to talk about, so like digital leads, for instance, like why would you have digital leads? So increasing sales, market share. Are you free to chat next Tuesday about increasing sales and some market share? Let me know what works best. Like really short and direct, and what it is that the conversation is going to be about. Like nothing vague. I don't want to seem like I'm selling. I can't think of like one with like really trash salespeople out there, but one of those ones where they won't tell you the price. Like that's just deceptive, and I don't like when people talk to me like that. So just being really direct, being to the point, not long-winded, And I think that works really well. Like dudes like Jeremy Minor and I'm sure there's others out there like Grant Cardone. You know, they're really just saying the same thing, but it's all about how they present it. It's all about like the gift wrap and the little ribbon around it. But at the end of the day, it's have a normal direct conversation like you're talking to somebody and be a real person.
And be a real person. I think people forget that a lot.
And I don't know what it is. I never understood what it was. Like, seriously, even like during my first ever job. So my first ever job, I was a junior in high school and I worked at Vans, selling shoes.
Yep.
And I would just talk to, I remember my bosses over there were like, yeah, just talk to them like they're normal. Ask them like, hey, do you skate? Are you looking for a shoe just to go walk around in? Do you like one of the one of the models that like our bands release? Like what are you into? Just ask them, just talk to them like a normal guy. I was 17 years old. I was a junior. So people would come in, they'd be like older. They'd be like my age now, like gray hair a little bit, even older. And I would just talk to them like normal people. Oh, cool. You shopping for yourself or for a kid? And you find out immediately, oh, I'm looking for myself. And what I learned at Vans, to this day, so when I switched to like the corporate side, it was weird, like my first salary job, and I'd see these people and they'd use terms like circling back and this. They just seem so, you know how they seem so restrained. It was almost like they were growing up living in like a communist state. Like you can't express yourself for fear of thought crime. And it was just bizarre to me. Like, why do you act like this? Like,
yep.
Like, is your phone tapped at home? Like, are there guards out? Are there snipers with like little dots transfixed on us? They didn't tell me about when I got hired because I never got it. So,
yep.
I suppose that's why I'm good at my job, because I talk to people the same way that I did when I was 17 at Vans.
Yeah, and that's the thing that about like sales is it's you can have a sales script, but the moment you're reading it word for word is the moment you lose people because it's so stiff, and it's like, do you have a gun pointed at you that you have to read these exact words?
Yeah,
Like no, like it's like this is your sales framework. Phrase these questions however you want. Mm-hmm. You need like the answers to because you're leading. Sales is leading people on a journey from point A to point B. Same thing with marketing, but it's like you can lead people to point B 17 different ways. It doesn't have to be these exact words. Oh dear, it needs to be the sentiment. It needs to be the same like intention to some degree. But oh my God, could you please, like when I get on sales calls, because I want to see what somebody's sales call process looks like. Sorry to all the people that I've been on sales calls with. It's like sometimes you're like, oh my God, will you just talk to me like a normal fucking human?
Yeah, like, seriously.
And that's when you realize is that if you're just reading the script and getting like script, answer, the person on the other side is not going to feel like you're treating them like an actual human and you're just treating them like a number that you need to get them to convert.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it is that makes people act like that I noticed when I started working in sales. Like, why do you act like that? Like, I'm not sure what it is. Maybe the only thing that I could possibly speculate upon is that they're that scared of losing their job, and then they get really stiff. Yeah, that's the only thing I can speculate.
And it's like, do you not know how to like? And granted, I come from a very weird, complicated, messy background, and I can talk to a brick wall if I need to, and I'm used to being on stage, and I can talk to anybody. But it's like, do you not know how to talk to people? Because sales is just a conversation where and it's not even that you want to get them to point B. And this is, I think, where a lot of what you do comes in. It's, you would like to make the sale, but it's also figuring out, are they actually the right fit for what you're selling and what you're offering? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think a lot of people try and force things, and they're so outcome dependent. Like, it could be like the person's first job in sales, and they're acting like if they don't properly execute this script, like they're going to lose their dream job of playing for their favorite like sports team. It's like, I don't know about you, but this wasn't the job that I dreamed of when I was 10 years old. So
No, nobody dreams of sales. God,
if
no.
this doesn't work out for you, either A, you will get another sales job, or B, you'll work in, I don't know, you could work in advertising. Maybe you'll even decide that you're really good with the wrench and you'll become a plumber and you'll make more than every single one of us.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah. Like worst case scenario, you're going to go into like the trades and actually like do something that can't be replaced by AI if we're complete. Like, and that's where it's.
And you'll be able to see your work when it's done and be like, wow, I did that. And that's worst case scenario. I fixed
that. Yes.
So.
And like, this is where it's like interesting of like, when you have like this script and you still need to follow it of like the mindset that we as business owners, as salespeople go in of like, I'm not here to sell you something. This is like, ideally, like, yes, I need to sell you on something, but it's like the mentality is not transactional. It's relational.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's where, like, when you're putting together kind of a sales process, how do you go about making it feel more human, more natural, instead of like the pushy sales that we're used to from like the early 2000s, 2010s?
Yeah, I think that a lot of that really pushy sales stuff is more like older generations. Like, just people are wired differently now. So, like, for instance, I never, whenever I'm training someone, I tell them like, consider this like notes. Like, these are going to be your main points you're going to need to get across. Look at it like these are directions on how to get from point A to point B. All right, so you're going to take a left on this street. You're going to take a right over there. And anything else in between is the details. Just make sure that you have them hit these 3 streets, and at the end, they'll get to 7-Eleven. Anything else that you say in between, that's whatever you want to do. That's listen to them. That's have a conversation with them. There are some people you'll find out, and you give them directions, they weren't even trying to go to 7-Eleven. They're trying to go to a completely different part of town. And you go, oh, okay, cool. No worries. Well, if you need to go to 7-Eleven, hit me up. I'm your plug, Yep. So that's the biggest thing, is people understanding that the sales framework that you operate within are just key points that you need to hit. And everything else you do, just have a conversation with them. And then for me, I try and tell people just to relax, and it's just really not that big of a deal. But I have found that like the first sales jobs that I had, they didn't make it seem like, it's like super serious. Like, oh, you need to push for this.
Yep.
You need to push. But it's really not that serious. I suppose my mindset really switched. There was one job that I had, and I finally made more money than I ever thought I was going to make, like, ever. Because I thought I was just going to be a radio DJ originally, and you don't make much money unless you have a nationally syndicated show. So, like,
right.
Unless you're, like Kevin and Bean at K-Rock or Howard Stern or something, you're not making much. So the first time that I made way more than I ever thought I would and started seeing those paychecks coming in, it was really wild. And I remember what the first paycheck, the wildest thing that I did, I got on eBay and I just put down like a ton of bids on Predator action figures. And I got like $400 worth of like these from Predators. So I got some aliens too. I'm a big AVP guy, The Preds always go hard. But after I got that, I realized that the money, like, what am I really going to do with all this money? Like, the Predators, I still have them. They sit there, they're sick to look at. But then it started to be more like, okay, so if this is the absolute pinnacle over here, it doesn't matter. It's not that important. So focus on other things. Like, let's focus on making this enjoyable. Let's focus on like connecting and having conversations that are at least going to entertain me throughout the day. So if there's somebody on the phone and they're not being cool and they're just, it's a guy and he's just being a dick, I'm like, all right, man, well, whatever, have a good one, click, and I'm gone. Like, there's just no need for that. So the willingness to walk away from something And I think you can apply that to life in general. Like
Right.
if you're so, like what I said earlier, outcome dependent. If you're so dependent on the outcome and whatever it is, you're going to enter it being so stiff. So I like to communicate to people, have fun on the phones. It's really not that big of a deal. If you are successful, which you will be eventually if you stick to it, it will happen as long as you continue to stick to the fundamentals and the basics, which is dialing the phone, sticking to that framework with a few directions on how to get to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, and I think when you take the pressure off of sales, you end up performing better because you relax. And there's like and you can feel like the energy of like when somebody's body relaxes on the other side of the phone, the camera, the whatever. And that's true, like vice versa. If my nervous system is chilled out and regulated, it's going to make whoever I'm cold calling going to be so much more chilled out, relaxed, and freaking honest with me as well.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. And like what you said earlier, it's that whole like sales culture from back in the day, that whole stuff that, I'm dating back to, I don't know, the 70s probably when it started, probably even before then. I don't know. I haven't done too much research into it, but I know that a lot of that wasn't like Zig Ziglar and all that stuff. And like, there are all these like hard charging, like people that just wanted to make a ton of money to do, I don't know what they wanted to do with it. Maybe hang out on a yacht, Jordan Belfort style, but I've never tried to hang out on a yacht. That's not what I want. And I guess it just got us stuck, and that's how you get the reputation of pushy salespeople. Like, go to Carl. I don't know why it's, to me, it's just like an old school mentality. Like I'm not gonna. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. You try and push me.
And
like,
that's the like old school sales. Like we've evolved past that because so much of old school, and this is where like old school sales versus new school is so wildly different. Because like with old school sales, the internet wasn't around. We didn't have the right like information, and we didn't have as many like marketing channels to market to people. So if you have somebody on the phone and you can't sell them right here, right now, the chance of getting them back, what do you have? Radio, newspaper, phone, that's all you have. And so it's a lot more high stakes. And the psychology of people back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, before the current internet, was just, life was a lot easier back. I say easier, but easier back then compared to what it is now with like the economy. But
I'd say it was simpler.
It was simpler.
Yeah.
Cost of living was a lot lower. Like people could affordability was significantly better back then. But now it's like, it's not that we have a shortage of information in 2026 anymore. In 1996, we didn't have the information for sale. So you give people the right information, they're going to buy from you. Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels sort of framework. Now we already have all the information. So a lot of times by the point that a salesperson actually gets to you, they are already 50% of the way to decided on whether or not they're going to buy or not from you. And if you go in with that, like, it takes the pressure off because they're already halfway decided, and you're really not going to massively shift them a whole 90 degrees. And even if they don't convert now you get to remarket to them over and over and over again via pick your marketing channel. They're going to come back to you in 6 months.
Yeah. I also think that the way that old school sales style works for different generations. Like, for instance, I heard an interview with Mike Eruzione, who scored the game-winning goal for the Miracle on Ice team in 1980, and he was talking about how his coaches were back then and how hard they were. And in the interview, like, oh, wow, really? Is that how it was? He's like, yeah. I also played high school football, he said, and my high school football coach was like that too. So it's just, and he said it's a generational thing. And the guys interviewing him, who are current pro hockey players, said, yeah, if you talk to current guys like that today, it's just not going to work. And that's a generational thing. Like, you're not going to like yell at somebody to do something. It's just going to go in one ear, out the other. They're not going to listen to you. So that old school sales style that, like, me watching like Glenn Ross about like the leads aren't shit. It's you that shit. Like, people are just going to go walk out. Like nobody's going to stand for that, or they're just going to half-ass it on the phone and collect the minimum paycheck. And then once they get fired, then they're just going to collect their base. That's how people are nowadays. So it's just a different culture, which is why, I mean, you sell differently because you also have to talk to your employees differently. You have to talk to people differently in general. So I like that myself, probably because I'm in that newer generation. And I think it's all about that adaptation, which is why I've noticed that your larger organizations that have more financial firepower, they're not hiring those old school people anymore. Those people are relegated to, I don't know, door-to-door sales, whatever those kind of guys.
Yeah. 100%. So now I have to ask the question, of course, what does a good sales framework look like? What is normally like included in that? Because we've talked about a lot of like the style, but what should be the framework?
Oh, do you define framework as in like cadence and how many touches? Do you define it as in a script when you're and some key points to hit during a conversation?
Both.
How do you just?
I'm gonna leave that open ended on purpose.
Okay, all right. So I would say I like to just go after. All right, so let's go like the initial part of the sale, which is speaking with somebody, be it in person or on the phone. So number one thing would be to engage them and do something different. So break that typical pattern. So I'm not going to go, hello, is this Aly? Hi, Aly. My name's Bryan. I would say comes in completely different. So in that case, you can get kind of funky with it, like whatever. So stand out, be different initially, because you got to hook them. Because if you don't hook them during that initial period, it's done. And this is applicable to, again, in person, on the phone, knocking on the door. I don't care what it is that you're doing. Do something that's different. After that, step 2 is find out, is this a prospect? So find out the service that you have. Is it even a need for them? Mm-hmm. Most people, I'm assuming what you're selling is kind of hard. So most people, it's probably not going to be a need. And then you just need to move on. And then for the people that is, then you're going to want to interact with them, ask them about what they're currently doing, find out what's important to them in terms of the product that you're selling. So if you're selling plants, ask them what type of plants they like, ask them what the temperature is like around it, and then find the best plant that's going to suit their needs. And then from there, if it suits their needs, then sell them on it. And if not, and they tell you to come back another time, now your follow-up's going to have to be pretty good on that.
Yep.
And that just comes down to listening to what people say. And that's not really that complicated. That's, again, just like if you go and you meet somebody, you have a friend who wants to hang out. Yeah, maybe I can hang out in a few weeks from now. I got some stuff going on with the kids. Cool. What day? Not sure. Why don't you just call me like in a week or so? Okay. Now, I would tell a salesperson, best to take the initiative. Don't have the prospect call you, because they're not going to call you.
Never.
So then say, great, when would be the best time to call you? And offer a few times. Would say like later next week be good, or the week after? Nail something down on that, and then follow up. And then during your follow up, be as to the point as possible, and say something in reference to the last time that you chatted with them, just like you would do with somebody normally. Like if you met them at the aforementioned 7-Eleven that you got directions from. Hey, it's me, Bryan. We met outside the 7-Eleven. You were selling cologne in front. I was the guy with the red Slurpee. So there's remembering that jogs the memory, because especially for sales, like people aren't going to remember that. But even if it was 7-Eleven, if the guy's selling cologne out front, he's probably talked to a lot of different people, and you're just the guy with the Slurpee. So yeah, mention that, and then cut to the chase in terms of when's a good time to reconnect, be it on the phone, on a Zoom call, or going in person.
I like it.
So that would be the framework. I would say no different than making a friend and finding a time to hang out with a friend the next time.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pivot a little bit into rapid fire. And so you're more of a sales guy than a traditional marketing guy. Okay. But I think that gives you insights that maybe not everybody else would have. So I think maybe it gives you some unique perspective on things. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so number one is most overrated marketing channel right now.
Most overrated marketing channel. All right, this is a little trick. How do you define a marketing channel? Is that like internet? Oh,
Facebook, Instagram, cold calling, cold email, TikTok.
okay. Uh, Most overrated would be, I don't know, for me, in person,
Okay,
door to door. Man, that's more sales.
that's
That's more
okay.
sales.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, I would say door to door because due to the way that people are, especially post COVID, where it's more acceptable to be an introvert. I'm a get off my lawn kind of guy. Like, don't talk to me outside of working hours. So that would be the most overrated for me. Door to
Okay.
door, don't talk to me. Door to door.
As I'm about to go put up with a sign this afternoon that says no soliciting because I have 20 calls this week. Yes.
We had a no solicitor sign on our house growing up. My dad put it up, so maybe I'm sure I get that from him.
Yep. Okay. What is the most underrated marketing channel right now?
Cold calling. Cold calling,
Okay.
because a lot of people are thinking it's social media, which is true with the phone addiction, the way that those things are to give you your dopamine hit. Everybody's on some form of social media. My mom's on it, my dad, they're seniors and they're
Yep.
on a type. Whereas cold calling, you got that human element in there, you have that ability to interact, and very few people are doing it.
Okay.
Not too many of us left.
There's not a ton of cold callers. You're 100% right. It's funny because most marketers will tell me the most overrated marketing channel is Instagram. 100% of the time. Because it's
You know, I bought
transactional.
a lot. I've bought a lot of stuff on Instagram. I found
Okay.
a lot of things on Instagram. I find new companies all the time on Instagram. I think Instagram's got me. It's the algorithm is what it is because it's tailored to your
It's,
interests.
yeah. Yep.
They're not going to show me something I'm completely not interested in.
Yep.
So Instagram,
Okay.
I love it. Yeah, I buy from there all the time.
Okay. So if you had to start a non-marketing, non-DJ business tomorrow, what would it be?
Marketing and non DJ business, I'd start a record label.
Okay. If you had 20K to grow that record label, how would you spend it?
Social media advertising.
Okay. What is the best marketing campaign that you have seen in the past 3 years?
Um, I haven't really seen anything that. Wait, I got it. I got
Okay.
it. It was a single individual. It wasn't the company because there's no company out there that's that good, in my opinion. It was a guy. He sells cars in Louisiana, and this guy was like plugging the cars, but he wasn't just plugging the cars. So let's say, for instance, he was selling a, I don't know, a Honda Civic. He was like, come on down here and get this Honda Civic today. I'm standing in front of Honda Civics, and he'll talk about like just really weird shit, like stuff that like you should not be talking about, but you talk about with like your closest people, or only when you're like, when you're just like blazed out of your mind or something like that. Like that type of stuff he was talking. It was like, oh my God, this guy is really saying that. And he was just going on any rant. So whatever he was passionate about, I think he had like a political one at one point. I think he just talked about like the most taboo topics,
Ha.
and he'd
Okay.
work it into the car. He'd say the crudest things too.
Oh my God.
I found out about this guy because the AE that I worked under at my job prior to the current one, she sent me. She's like, have you seen this guy? This guy says the wildest shit. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Like, he was treating it like he was Howard Stern in the late 80s.
Okay.
Just saying like the edgiest stuff possible to create a buzz. It was so unique that when I called the dealership, I asked to speak with him and I said, hey, really quick, I'm not here to sell you anything. I sell something completely different. I know you sell cars. I just wanted to say, like, you got the sickest like marketing campaign I've ever seen. If I did need a
Nice.
car
Okay.
and I lived in Louisiana, I would make a drive to this guy just for that experience.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for coming on the show today. If people would like to
Thank you.
connect with you further, what's the best way for them to find you?
Well, you could find me on LinkedIn at Bryan Wong. That's BryanWong, and the organization is L2T Media. So Lima to Tango, as I like to say. Feel free to connect with me over there on LinkedIn with a plethora of ideas, whatever you might have, and we can definitely go from there.
Awesome. For everyone tuning in today, thank you so much for joining, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Humans of Growth.